when casting, this is Marianne, when casting, how much old silver is safe to use?
Okay. So a lot of people will say you've got to put 50-50, 50% old to 50% new. Now, for me, it depends on what you're casting and what purity your metal is and how often your old piece of silver has been used to cast. Also depends on what part of the world you're in, depends on what sort of regulations you've got when it comes to the precious metal content of, say, the silver. A lot of people will say, as I said, 50-50, okay? So 50% new, 50% old, okay? And they say that because if you're doing things like lost wax casting, a lot of times they'll say lost wax casting, you put 50-50, and with that then, you then will get successful casts. But if you're casting things like cuttlefish casting or delft clay casting, you don't necessarily need that, that mixture for when you cast. A lot of times we will simply come along with 100% of what we've already used. A lot of times we will cast, we will cut the sprue off, we will save the sprue, and then we will use that sprue, so that's been cast once, we will use that sprue in another cast, and usually we will add some more scrap into that we've got. Then, to compensate the slight perhaps deterioration of the metal, we will add a couple of grams of fine silver just to perhaps bring that quality of silver a little bit higher, that finesse, perhaps over the 925 mark. So perhaps we will have a sprue that we've got of that sort of shape, and then perhaps then we've got some chains, perhaps then we'll have some rings, some signet rings or whatever that have been used before. We try not to use too many chains because you've got a lot of solder with it. So what we will tend to do is sort of incorporate the sprue with some fairly new scrap into it, and then we'll add then a couple of little grams, perhaps if we're melting down say 30 grams in total, okay, perhaps we will add perhaps 2 grams of fine, and that's okay. But if I was doing lost wax casting, I would do 50-50, 50 virgin metal, that should be fine, and then 50% normal. Depends what you're doing. And also, if you're melting silver down for making ingots to put through the rolling mill and so forth, I would not necessarily have this mixture. I then would perhaps do 50-50, 50 new to 50 old, just to make sure that the quality and of the metal is still there for when it comes to being rolled and drawn down and so forth. It doesn't get too cracked as you roll. So those are sort of what we would do here.